So we're going to talk about how to set up your AR-15 or your rifle. What's going on, guys? I hope all you are doing great. So I want to discuss, I've had a couple people more on Instagram ask me on they're getting their first AR or they've had this AR and they want to do this with it. What is my thoughts on what y'all should do to your AR? It's not really up to me, guys. It's your rifle. That'd be an AR-15 platform, a different kind of rifle you just bought, whatever the case may be. This is your rifle, so you need to build it how you want it. Now, I am going to help of how you can kind of build it and talk about some things to look over and go into before you make these steps. So when I buy a rifle or I'm building an AR, I always look at 3 different things before I start building it. It's going to be, first is going to be purpose, your next is going to be budget, and the last one that I kind of threw in there, this might throw some of you guys off, is environment. Where do you live at? What would you need? Still kind of goes back to purpose. What would you need the AR-15 or rifle for where you're at? So let's go over purpose, which is the main one that I want to hit on and the most important. So purpose, this can be a bunch of different things, guys. For those that work in law enforcement, if your agency lets you kind of do what you want to your rifles, okay, that's going to be what you need. What kind of houses, that goes back to environment. What kind of residence are you going to? Do you work for a sheriff's office? Do you work for a police department? Are you state, federal level? Whatever the case may be, contractors. You all can do different things, and you got to kind of know, okay, I need this rifle for 25, 50 yards tops for some of these neighborhoods I'm going in. Or I need it, I live way more in the county or the country, and we're going to these farmhouses that are on long dirt roads and stuff, so I need a little bit more stuff for reach. So do you need an LVPO? Do you need a red dot or a holographic sight? So it's kind of the purpose is what your rifle is going to kind of flow and go around is going to be your purpose. What is it intended purpose? For civilian guys, is it just going to be home defense? So that maybe said, where do you live at? What kind of environment are you on? Are you on, like I said, in the country? Are you a bunch of property? Are you in a massive neighborhood with houses that are stacked on top of each other? A rifle might be the best thing, or different weapons. So what is your purpose, guys? So on purpose, I want to talk about kind of a couple different things you need to look at. You need to just figure out if it's for work, for home defense, whatever. Okay. Is this going to be an all-around go-to AR? That's kind of how I base mine on. We'll talk about it in a little bit. I've already made a video, but how I kind of base mine on. Are you making one for a 3-gun competition shooting? A trunk gun? Are you just having a nightstand gun? Are you having a long distance, like an SPR type build? So purpose, guys, you got to figure out what is that intended use and purpose for that AR-15. So that's just kind of all the purpose. There's a bunch of different stuff to get in. What is your intended purpose for your rifle, your AR, whatever you guys are using? Next thing I want to talk about is budget, because that is going to be another big one. We all have different budgets. My budget is a lot lower than a lot of you guys watching. I work in law enforcement. For those law enforcement guys out here watching, you know how our budget is. We don't make that much unless you're state or federal or you're a private contractor. So what is your budget? One of my last videos I talked about how a budget should be. I made the $10,000 one. I think I made like a $2,500 one. We'll make another video on a $1,500 budget rifle and kind of go into what kind of main thing. I talked about it in my last couple of videos on how to keep your AR around 15 to 2 grand, or if you're doing a 10K budget, also you can go up more. But have a budget. A lot of people say, well, I only have $1,000. I can't get nothing good. That's not the case. You can get an AR complete setup for $1 grand, and it's going to be reliable. It's going to be good. I know I always say keep your rifle around $1 grand to $1,500, and then your optics. But guys, if you're new or you're just getting your first rifle, your AR, whatever, an AR pistol or a rifle, if you're buying MCX, SCARs, whatever you're getting, this is not just ARs. A lot of people say, well, I got the money for the gun, but I don't have this extra money for an optic. for any new guys watching this, I always say train first with irons. Your irons are never going to let you down. An optic can break, it can fail. Irons can too, but your irons are going to be way more reliable than, say, an actual electronic optic, an LVPO, something like that, or LPVO, something like that. So get a $1,000 rifle. If you don't have a lot of money, get a $1,000 rifle, put irons on it. You might can get away with about an $850 rifle. Put irons on it. Budget a little bit more until you can get that red dot you want. They make a lot of great options for less money. Sig Romeo 5s are good. The Hollisons are good. There's Primary Arms makes decent stuff, or actually really great stuff for the money. There's a lot of good companies out here nowadays in the optic world that is actually sitting on the lower side of the budget, but they're competing with a lot of these high-end optics out there, guys. So make sure, don't go throw so much money into your rifle where you're completely broke and you're like, okay, now I have no money for ammo. Now I can't train, because this rifle is not important to you at all if you do not have the right training and a little bit of ammo to train with, plus have some put aside. So know your budget and then limit around that with your purpose. Last thing I want to talk about is going to be environment. I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Didn't live there long. I lived my whole life inside the area I work in now, but moved to Charlotte to work for a company. Absolutely hated it. Moved back years ago and got in law enforcement. That is a place where, say, an SPR that I'm trying to build would not be a good fit for those big cities. Dallas, Charlotte, New York, Seattle. Yeah, I said Seattle. Chicago. That was not many. I can't really say a lot of these places, they don't even have, you can't even own ARs or mags, but they just have strict gun laws. So where do you live at, or where do you work at? Is this going to stay in your trunk? So I'm trying to build an SPR. I can build that now. Yes, I'll have a purpose for that. So where you're going to be at, that does not always mean where you're living at, because I know a lot of people live an hour away from work. I know a lot of people commute an hour to 2 hours a day. Y'all are crazy, but if it makes a lot of money, I do it too. So you got to base, like I said, those three things: purpose, budget, and environment. That's kind of really what you need to know before you jump into this AR build, this rifle you're building. Know those. I know a lot of people come, like I bought my first AR. I didn't know what I was doing. My Daniel Defense V11, that didn't get used a lot, so I got rid of it. Yes, I hate getting rid of my Daniel Defenses. Those amazing rifles, one of the most reliable rifles I've had. But that did not serve my purpose. At that time, that 16-inch barrel did not it did not fit my purpose. I know that, like the sheriff's office, they are using 16-inch barrels. That, yes, it's in the county, but I think 16 inches is a little too much for some of these places. That's like a lot of law enforcement agencies. I like when they're going down to the SBRs. 11.5 or a 12.5 even would be perfect. But I always say 10.3 to 12.5 for law enforcement. You military guys out there, you might need that 16 inches. You're out here doing a lot more with your primary, your rifle, than us law enforcement guys are when we're going into small houses, neighborhoods, businesses, restaurants, whatever. So we don't need that distance. We're fine with 10.3 to 12.5, but as a military needs that little bit more, depending on what your mission is, what your op is. You might need something different. So after you get all those three things done and you build your rifle, however you want your AR, then what's next? That's going to be another thing, going back to budget. You can have more than one AR, because I've had up to 10 and then go back to 1, then back to 5, then go to 1. It just depends, but like I have a lot of builds coming up right now. So after you get that AR you got and you have some extra budget, or a couple years down the road you want to build some more, keep going back to those three things: purpose, budget, environment, to build yours on. Like I said, 3 gun competitions are going to use a lot different guns, they're going to use their setup a lot different than, say, I would, a regular civilian, military, law enforcement, whatever. So they're going to use a little bit different. So I said, get that rifle done. You got some more you want to do, go for it. So I'm going to go back to this build. Yes, you guys have seen this in my other video, but I'm going back to this build because this was basically, whenever I made this video, that I'm making now, this is what came into that of, look, hey, let's stop buying so much. I got to jump my Daniel fence or my BCM, whatever. Stop jumping into stuff. Finding companies online is buying them and they just sit and collect dust. And then a year or two down the road, I sell them. So this was my, I don't want to say first AR that really I took the time into thinking about and not just jumping shit and just throwing stuff together. This was built on my three things: purpose, budget, and environment. I wanted this for basically a do-it-all, go-get-it-all pistol. I can't say rifle. This is an AR pistol. Something that I could basically run and gun with. I can shoot quick with. I can train all the time with. Beat it up, throw it around, shoot whatever kind of ammo I want into it, not have a problem. Be a trunk gun, be a backpack gun, whatever, just a bedside gun on the fence. This was my do-it-all, go-get-it-all type setup. I'm not going to talk about this really, but this is my 10.3 AR. This is basically a Mark 18. It's basically what it is, with some bells and whistles on it. Budget, this is still not done, as you can see. I'm waiting on my hour device, which would be a PEC or a D-ball. Can't afford them all one-on-one, so like I said, budget, guys. And then I'm waiting my can to get out of jail right now, which was a Surefire. And this was another one I'm talking about, irons. You see I have no irons on here, and that is basically because my other rifles have irons, but this little short setup, when that PEC or D-ball goes right here, I have nothing up here. Put something back here, but I still gotta move the switch back. That's the only reason I'm not having this. But yeah, this is basically my build to kind of talk about this video. If you guys want to see more on this, there's a video out there I did a couple months ago. I'll leave down in the description below. And something I did not talk about that should have been said near the beginning was, with all three of those things, purpose, budget, and environment, another thing is you do not want to throw a lot of shit on your rifle and weigh it down. I said this is light with everything on here. It is light, but it is going to get heavier with the can and the IR laser. So when you get this Gucci out rifle, whatever you're wanting to do for your rifle, do not throw a lot of shit on there where it's just going to weigh it down. Because I promise you might think it's easy just having it mount and stuff. But whenever you're doing drills, working, whatever, and you're clearing the house and you're constantly holding it up for long periods of time, that shit is going to be rough on your shoulders and your forearms. So guys, that is my thoughts on how to set up your rifle, your AR-15, whatever you guys are using. Guys, if you can like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed to me already, and hit that bell notification down below to be notified when I upload videos. Guys, you like this, whatever, have any thoughts on anything that I could have added, done differently, whatever kind of input you got, please leave it down in the comments below. If you want to help this channel just a little bit more, but you don't have to, I'll leave a link down to my Patreon account down below, and also I'll throw my Instagram account down there as I post quite a bit with gun stuff and reply a little bit quicker on Instagram. But guys, I appreciate it, and as always, y'all have a good one.